Okay, if you ever meet Scott Ginsberg, you won't have to worry about forgetting his name.
Because he wears his name on a tag.
All day, every day, for the rest of my life. Sometimes, too. Yeah, that's how I roll. And so, yeah, I've been wearing a name tag 24/7 for 9 years. And if you're wondering about that whole 24/7 part, we'll cover that later. And I've probably done more research on the topic of name tags than any person should. And what I've discovered, as far as I know, nobody else in the world has ever really done this before. And so I don't share that with you to brag. I mean, as proud as my parents are that their 28-year-old son has been inducted into the Hall of Fame of Ripley's Believe It or Not for wearing a name tag, I'll be the first person to admit to all of you that this isn't much of an accomplishment. It's true. However, what is an accomplishment is when you leverage your simple idea into something big and beautiful and fun and cool that utilizes your gifts and validates your existence and makes money and makes the world a better place. Does that sound cool to anybody? Absolutely. And this is what I've dedicated the past 9 years of my life to. And so this morning, what I wanted to share with you are not just my experiences with wearing a name tag and miraculously turning that into a profitable business, but more importantly, the lessons learned from and the mistakes made during and the practical application of those ideas to each of you that'll help you get noticed, get remembered, and get business. Does that sound cool to anybody? So here's the good news. Actually, there's two pieces of good news. Number one, I know nothing. It's true. I don't work for Aspect. I'm not a partner of Aspect. I don't know anything about call centers. I'm definitely not UC ready. It's true. I share that with you for good reason. I'm a writer, a speaker, an entrepreneur, or as CNN likes to call me. Yeah, 4 years of college. So the second piece of good news is that this morning, with the understanding that all of your brains are just packed full of information, and this is the very last part of the conference, I'm only going to ask you to remember one thing. Is that fair? One thing, one simple idea, 4 words. 54 minutes from now, when you walk out of this room, the only 4 words you need to know. Stick yourself out there. That's it. That's everything. Every example, every practice, every strategy that we talk about today revolves around these 4 words. I mean, everything I've learned after 9 years is underneath this umbrella. And the cool part is, this morning, what you're going to discover is that there's a practice that each of you guys, strategies you can use based on your own preferences and your own passions on how you are going to stick yourself out there. So I'm not going to challenge you today to start wearing a name tag 24/7. You don't want to do it. Rather, I'm going to challenge you to figure out how you can plug yourself and your customers and your sales process into this equation. I'm going to challenge you to ask yourself questions like, what's your unique approach? What are you known for? And essentially, what's your name tag? In order to do that, I have to ask you some questions. Actually, they're not really questions. They're more like catapults. That's the best part about a question is once it's been asked, it's neurologically impossible for the human brain not to seek out an answer. So you don't need to raise your hand. You don't need to write anything down. No need to shout anything out. I just want you to listen and learn, and more importantly, think about what these questions say and how you can apply these questions to each of your individual sales world. Is that cool with everybody? Question number 1. Are you a salesperson or a resource? Big difference. Salespeople, when they go to work, you know what they do? They sell like products and services. Ugh. But a resource solves through ideas and solutions. A salesperson is perceived as a commodity. On the other hand, a resource is perceived as a trusted advisor. Which one are you? Question number 2. Do you have customers or fans? I'd like to introduce you all to my dad. No. You know that guy. Anytime you attend a sporting event or watch one on TV, it's always the same thing every single time. It's right around the 50-yard line or, half court or somewhere in a visible location. It's always the guy with the face painted and the jersey. He's got 6 beers in his hands. Go Tigers! Woo! Why do people do that? No, it's because they're drunk. And because they're not customers. They're what kind of people? Fans. And that's the best part about a fan. A fan is beyond being satisfied. A fan is even beyond loyalty. A fan is insistent. They love you. They got to have you. They got to work with this company. Now, usually when you hear someone say, well, we had thousands of fans, or lined across the block were hundreds of fans, it's usually sports and what other venue? Yeah, music, concerts, performances. So now the question is, and just yell out the answer, yes or no, is it possible you could have fans of this company? Is it possible you could have fans of you? You better believe it. So the equation is simple. More fans equals less selling. How many fans do you have?